All right, what is up, everybody? Jumping into another live show here after that craziness. And man, what a waste. It was kind of disappointing. I know there's probably not much they could do, but we got everybody out there. And sure enough, the race ended up being canceled. So that was like the first time I've ever seen something like that. I know Ricky said on the broadcast that it's happened at Motocross of Nations, I think in 98. We've seen lightning delays, we've seen stuff like that, but definitely nothing that I can recall as far as like a professional level motocross race being completely canceled like that, especially something with millions and millions of dollars on the line like this. So that was pretty crazy to see. Definitely a bummer. I'm sure you guys were bummed just as much as I was. I feel bad for the fans that were over there that, went all the way out to the stadium or the dragway to go watch the race and then essentially just got really wet and had to sit around and waste their time. I'm not really sure that there's much the promoters could have done in this case, but nonetheless, definitely still a bummer. So if you guys don't already know, Moto 2 of the SMX finals was canceled. Definitely not ideal. They went off of the results of Moto 1 for the overall. So Jet Lawrence ended up taking home your overall win. Hayden Deegan came home in second. So pretty interesting stuff. The track was really gnarly this weekend. We're going to get into some clips here in just a minute, talking about some of these crashes we saw, not only today, but on Friday. Unfortunately, Julian Beaumer is looking like he's injured. He went down in qualifying today. We're going to look at that. I kind of went through that clip and stabilized it a little bit. We're going to break that down. We also have something interesting to talk about as far as these wildcard races. So we're going to get into that a little bit later as well. But as you guys probably saw, if you watched Race Day Live, they actually took 7 riders out of the wildcard race. And originally, it's only supposed to be 2. The reason they're taking 7 is because 5 riders were unable to line up from the top 20. So now they're taking 7 guys out of there. And there's some interesting stuff with the purse money. So we're going to dive into that a little bit deeper once we get further on into the show. But I'm also going to answer some questions as far as what's going on with the SMX Next race. We have the results from that. They're not going to race, so that's kind of a bummer for those guys. Team Kawasaki had Jorge Prado and Jason Anderson not able to compete. So they did have Enzo Timmerman over there to try to compete in SMX Next. And unfortunately, even he did not get to race. So definitely a bummer for him. We'll get into those results as well. Lots of stuff to dive into. So the first thing that I want to go ahead and get into right now is some of these clips that I have for you guys as far as what happened on Friday, what happened on Saturday, some of the stuff that you probably didn't see on the broadcast. So let's go ahead and jump into this one here. This should be Friday's kind of like highlights of some of the stuff that went down. So let's see here. Here we go. We're going to wind this for you guys. So this was as the guys were essentially riding press day. They're trying to figure the track out. And as you guys can see, some of this is SMX Next, but still, these are some of the best guys in the country, and they were definitely struggling with the track. We know there was a lot of moisture in the dirt, but nonetheless, see, there's Rider D, there's Juju going to flat. Even Hayden struggling a bit. I think this is Davies coming up way short. So just lots of craziness, man, going on through the, this was all on Friday. There's Jet. He can't even roll between. It's so muddy. Luckily, he was fine. And then here's the gnarly one, Ryder Malinowski. Look at this. Absolute nose pick right here. We saw a lot of these in this rhythm section. For my opinion, with this right here, we saw Hammaker do that. We saw Julian kind of do that. And then we saw Malinowski do that as well. I personally feel like these guys are trying to run their suspension a little bit softer. And they're trying to find a balance between the high speed sections as well as still being able to have somewhat stiff enough suspension to hit the jumps. And I feel like they're probably going a little bit more on the side of a little bit too soft for how sharp those transitions were in that specific rhythm section. And it was really biting some of these guys. Definitely don't want to see that. So let's jump into this here. Here we have Julian Beaumer doing essentially the same thing. And as Steezy was just commenting, Julian has had some pretty rough races here. So we have 2 different angles. They're not perfect. I tried to stabilize this one a little bit. That's why it's kind of choppy like that. But anyways, you can see he did get bucked over the front. Obviously, Julian is a great rider. I do think he rushed back from these concussions way too quickly. But anyways, you can see here, he went over the front, and there's no chance he was saving this because look, right off when he takes off, his weight's already forward. He's trying to wiggle his body, try to get that back end down, front end up, and there's just nothing he can do. Now, obviously, this was a hard hit. The main concern here has been his concussions. I don't think he suffered another concussion here. It sounds like he's got a leg injury, potentially a knee issue or just a leg issue. We're still waiting on confirmation. Nonetheless, I did say in the race update show that I had a lot of concerns about Julian returning so quickly. I don't know that the concussions really played a factor here. Either way, you really hate to see it. And while we're on this subject, let's go ahead and jump into a similar crash that we had right here. Now, luckily, Seth ended up being okay. But clearly, there's an issue here. I mean, Ryder Malinowski, that's one thing. He's learning how to compete at this level. But Seth Hammaker and Julian Beaumer, these guys, they know what they're doing. So clearly, there could be some compromise here on the track design. This is a lot of the same type of thing that we're seeing over and over again. Yeah, lots of Indonesia. And this is only what I could find. I wasn't there. Somebody who was there was Trackside. He got some good footage, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. It's great to see other small YouTube channels be able to get in there and get some footage. We're going to show some of that a little bit later if we have time. But yeah, lots of tickets to Indonesia this weekend. Definitely not ideal to be flying overseas like that. But yeah, so anyway, Seth ended up being okay. That is the good news. He actually almost won. So shout out to Seth. That was really cool. Definitely couldn't quite hold it together that last 5 minutes. But anyways, could have been a lot worse for Seth. Now my question is, can we find a compromise on the track design here? Because these guys are going so fast in some sections, and then knowing how soft the dirt was, I think these transitions should have been smoothed out, not so peaky. And I think they actually did do that. If you look at when they groomed the track after qualifying, it looked a little bit smoother as far as it wasn't so sharp. So that was nice to see. At least they did something. Monster Energy Kawasaki is in shambles indeed on the 450 side at the very least. There's a lot going on over there. Next year should be a lot of fun. Hopefully Chase can redeem those guys. So anyways, so this is kind of, I'm sure some of you guys might have seen this, but let me go ahead and bring this down and throw this up. Sorry about that. So this is kind of what it was looking like around the time that they canceled the race. Obviously, it's not ideal to ever cancel such a premier race like this, but at the same time, there was lightning in the area. We did highlight this on the race day update show as well. We said expect a rain delay. I didn't expect it to be canceled though. So I did try to give you guys a heads up. But anyways, the track's obviously flooded. I think the guys could have got around that, and it would have been a lot of fun to see exactly what would have happened if they could have got out there on a slippery track like this. I feel like it would have actually been safer in this case. I think you could argue that, oh, it's really not safe to go out there. But at this point, with how much moisture they got, there's really not going to be much jumping, maybe some doubling going through. So if anything, maybe you drag a foot or something. That's like the worst thing I think you could have happen at this point. And yeah, so I would have really liked to see it, but I understand the call. Obviously, when there's lightning in the area, they do have insurance and they can only do so many things as far as their regulations go. So I get that. And obviously, safety is the most important thing. But yeah, things were definitely gnarly over here. Now, what I want to talk about next is the SMX Next race. I'm sure you guys know that they were out there. If you watched Race Day Live, you saw them practicing. This should be it right here. So, nope, that's the 450. Sorry, guys. All right, so anyways, what happened was the SMX Next guys were out there. They did not get to race. They're not going to race. Their race is canceled, but they did essentially get scored. So kind of weird. Not what I was expecting. I do have some answers as far as who got what. So I'm sorry, I'm just sorting through as far as what happened. I have it right here. Okay. Anyways, so here we have the SMX Next results. As you guys can see, at the top is Caden Dudney. He ran 0 laps, as did everybody else. So if you're wondering how they came up with this, everybody did not start, but they did essentially get scored. And I think it would have been great if they would have known what they were fighting for. Essentially what's going on here is that this is time qualifying. So Caden Dudney did have the fastest lap, and he's your winner as far as I can tell. So this is the unofficial main event results, as you can see right here. And that's pretty much what they're doing. So interesting precedence there. Not anything that I've ever seen happen before. Obviously, they're going to kind of put SMX Next on the back burner. And that really sucks for those guys, especially like for Team Kawasaki. They essentially had the rig out there and they're supporting Timmerman, and then he just never even got to race. So as far as that goes, that was kind of a bummer. Now, if you guys looked at the thumbnail, you may have seen that I put on there was some fist fights. So wait till you guys see this. This is crazy. So I don't know why we can't just all be friends. Look, I understand, like I was saying, it's a bummer. I don't even know what this is about. There's really no context, as these videos usually don't have a lot. But come on, man, like we're all just out here to enjoy the sport we love. And it seems like we're seeing a lot of this type of stuff. You'll never see this on the mainstream. So I just like to bring you guys what's really happening behind the scenes. Not saying it's good or bad, but it did happen. Anyways, moving back away from that, another thing that I wanted to talk about, if you guys were here for the intro, what I was saying was in the wildcard round, they have purse money allocated for everybody in the wildcard that does not qualify for the main event. Now, normally that should only be the top 2 riders transferring, but in this case, we have 7 riders transferring through. So that's an additional 5 riders. So if you look at this right here, this is the payout scale per race. Looking at this is 250s. So first place is obviously about 50,000. That's kind of what a normal win bonus is for those guys. Now it does get a little bit better as you work your way down here to 22nd. But what's really interesting here is, as you can see on the LCQ side, or what's now known as the wildcard race, third place is allocated 1,900, then 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th are all allocated money as well. But all of those guys ended up transferring into the main event. So that happened in both classes. So essentially, there's a giant question mark right here as far as what's actually happening. Here's the 450 side. It's about the same. Third is a little bit high. It's like a $300 or $400 increase, essentially. But anyways, this is, tens of thousands of dollars in each class. That's essentially, who knows what's happening to it. I'm not making any accusations, but theoretically, you should be able to get third in the LCQ, make $2,300, and then get 22nd in the main and make another $2,400 based off of this, which I'm sure they're not doing that because that would not make any sense. So who knows what's happening to that money? Kind of interesting. Just thought you guys might get a kick out of that. I know I did. Let me see what I have here for you guys. Oh, that's my intro. Sorry. Okay. So then next, I wanted to go over here and show you guys who, if you're not already following this guy, you got to go over here and you got to follow this guy. So check out Trackside. This is his Instagram right here. He was able to get his first ever media credential. So he was actually out there at SMX. Normally he's over here doing something similar to like what I'm doing. He's local to the area. And man, he had some really good shots. Like, check this out. This is right here at the start of the 250s. Seth Hamaker with the whole shot. He's out there doing his thing. Really great guy. He has his YouTube channel, which he has a lot of really cool content on there. So I just want to help bring some attention. I don't feel like he's getting the recognition he deserves as far as the effort he was putting in this weekend. And there's some really cool content right here that you guys might not know about. He even asked some pretty cool questions in the press conference. So definitely go check out Trackside 11 on Instagram or Trackside on YouTube. Great channel, great content, and a great guy. Anyways, let me jump into these comments here. So yeah, as far as the SMX Next, dude, that's like a pretty big bummer. I was kind of wondering, I'm like, so what do these guys do? You know, they came all the way over here, and now what? Because obviously the race is canceled. They're not rescheduling it. I personally was hoping that they would run a third moto at some point. You know, maybe next weekend we do like Friday press day and then a makeup moto. I feel like that would have been a great solution. Obviously, we couldn't race today. That's out. And I don't think it's realistic for them to stay till tomorrow. They have a tight schedule. They have to get out of there, move over to St. Louis. It's not exactly next door. So I get that. But the track will be up on Friday. They're going to be riding it. I think it would have been great to do a makeup race on Friday in St. Louis. Now that is kind of controversial as far as making that be your overall, as far as like, say Hayden wins today in moto number 1, then moto number 2 is on a completely different track on a completely different day, and he doesn't win, then I could see the issue with that. But at the same time, I still thought it would be a fun thought for exploring. At the very least, I definitely think that the SMX Next guys should have had a shot at something like that, because like I said, they're just out of luck. They're not doing anything. They're not going to race. They're going off of their qualifying times. I don't even know what that does for them. I don't think there's any real purse money on the line. I'm not sure that there's championship points. I think that whoever wins Vegas is the champion. So essentially, I think it's just kind of to have something on paper. I don't think it really does anything. So essentially, it was just kind of like a waste of those guys' time to be there. As far as I know, that's not 100% confirmed. But yeah, if you guys are just joining, essentially what I'm talking about is the SMX Next class is getting scored off of time qualifying. Yeah, maybe we could make next weekend a Triple Crown. That would still be kind of, I don't know, that's just adding an extra workload, because you're still going to end up, you're just doing an extra moto, and the points are still going to be paid out over that same race. So I think they did the right thing as far as the 250s and the 450s, but I really think that they should have let the SMX Next guys do a makeup race in St. Louis on Friday. That's just my opinion. Imagine if you flew in for that, paid for tickets, that would have sucked. Dude, even if you just drove in for that, it's understandable. Obviously, it's not ideal. I'm from Southern California, and I went to Sam Boyd one time, which is about a 4.5-hour drive for, I think it was the finals, not Monster Energy Cup. It was for like round 17 of Supercross, and they didn't cancel it, but it ended up raining pretty bad. And just that was a bummer, dude. Like, we made the most of it and still had fun, but we ended up being out there way longer than we wanted to because we were still driving home that night. So it's just not ideal all around. I think this does go back to a lot of the talk that we've had as far as venue selection. A lot of people are not thrilled with the drag strips. Now, it's logistically challenging because we have the football season going, baseball is going. So those normal venues, they're out. That's why they've been doing the drag strip. That being said, as far as Las Vegas Motor Speedway goes, I don't think that their NASCAR race is still on the table. I think I'm not 100% up on NASCAR schedule, but as far as I know, they could race the finals inside the speedway and maybe do something like where they go up on the banking, come back down. It doesn't have to just be in the tri-oval. I think that would be a lot cooler than racing on the drag strip if we have to use these types of venues. I think St. Louis is going to be awesome. The LA Coliseum was really cool. I was there. Really liked that. I don't think you can have every round of SMX be like, you know, as far as the LA Coliseum or St. Louis, it's going to feel way too supercrossy if every round is like that. So I get that. We need to have some more motocrossy rounds. I've heard that they're working on places like maybe some beachfront races, some really out of the box stuff. So that would be really cool. It's probably coming in the next couple of years or so. They're working on figuring all this stuff out. I think they did sign multi-year contracts when they originally got these venues. So that's something in the future that would be nice to see changed. The thing is, we're going to have a hard time having any type of a roof over our heads without it being like a full Supercross type of race anyways. But yeah, it's just a bummer, dude, that this had to go like this. So yeah, totally agree. They're not running tomorrow, to answer your question. They will not be running tomorrow. There's no makeup race. The race is canceled. There's nothing to bring it back. The SMX Next are not doing any race. They were scored off of qualifying. The race is over. Hayden won, Jet won. The points are paid out. Now, as far as the points are paid out, this is something else I wanted to talk about. So we did have some penalties. Let me go over here and see if they actually have the penalty report up yet. But we saw that little bit of a controversial section kind of in the back where they were jumping. The red cross. This is really tough for me. So I don't have the footage offhand because I didn't find anything good that I felt like I could use without getting copyrighted. So I'm definitely not trying to do that. But what the issue has been with the red cross flags is that guys are not seeing it. And yes, we do have the penalty report. So we're going to get into that right now. The red cross flag and the lights have been hard for some people to see. And because of that, a lot of guys have jumped on the red cross flag before, which has caused a lot of issues. Now, I wish I had the video to show you guys, but we do have the results right here. This is the 250s where the penalties were handed out. If you guys can see right here at the top, 56 penalized 5 championship points for jumping on a red cross flag. 47 penalized 5 championship points for jumping on a red cross flag, and 1 position for passing. So anyways, I can kind of describe to you guys, if you didn't see it, what happened. They're coming around the back section kind of where it's more motocrossy, and the red cross flag was waving on the landing of the last double going into the corner, essentially indicating that starting here, you can no longer jump, meaning as you come out of the corner, you have to roll. And that's where Seth Hammaker and Levi Kitchen made their mistake. But some of the guys saw the red cross flag waving on the landing and appeared to like get kind of nervous about it. And they rolled that double going into the corner too. And so because we saw Hayden jump that double while other guys right next to him were rolling it, Hayden jumped it, other guys next to him rolled it. Even the broadcast members were confused and speculating, is Hayden going to have a penalty? Now, I understood what was happening because I've studied the red cross flag rule quite extensively. And I think it's great that they had the flag out there because imagine you come out of a bull corner, those ruts are deep, you're really digging to try to find a way to just jump that double. It's gnarly. And then at the last second, you see a red light. You're like, well, dude, like I'm wide open. What do you want me to do? They're going to jump it. So having the red cross flag on the landing was the right thing to do. It did cause a little bit of confusion, even with the broadcast team. Unfortunately, Seth Hammaker and Levi Kitchen still got penalized. I really feel like there's a better way to do this. This was handled as good as it could. There was red lights even on the takeoff. So there's a red cross going into the corner, red flashing lights coming out of the corner. Marchbanks, unfortunately, was down on the side of the track. Definitely not ideal there. And shout out to Garrett Marchbanks. Man, that was not ideal because I've really been enjoying having him have the great season that he has had. I've been speculating that he's hopefully going to be on the 450 in Jorge Prado's place next year, which could be a lot of fun. But we got to wait and see what's going on with him. I just looked right now to try to hopefully see if there was any update on him. And as of right now, I have nothing. So that sucks. But anyways, the red cross flag was for Garrett Marchbanks. We did see him get rolled off on the mule. So he's definitely hurt. We don't know exactly what's going on with him. Anyways, I feel like we need to have something either in your communications or an indicator light on the bike somewhere that would work in conjunction with what we already have. I'm not saying get rid of it, but just have these guys have something, even more information to help them stay safe out there. Because for one, I think it was like Faulkner rolled that double, and maybe a couple other guys that we saw on the broadcast that didn't need to roll it, and they lost some time doing that, which they could have if they would have known better. If there's like a race control that comes over and says, hey, going into this turn right here, you have to roll the jump afterwards, it would have made it a lot more cut and dry. I think that could be coming at some point. But anyways, that's just my thought on that. Let me see what you guys are saying here. Yeah, dude, it's hard not to be a huge Marchbanks fan. I gained a lot of respect for him actually when he kind of called out, I think he essentially called out, I think it was MX Sports, when he had that whole podium issue. Yeah, I have it right here. So let me see it. There it goes. I can't pause it. So essentially Garrett ended up calling out MX Sports and was like, yo, because he got on the podium and they did not allow him to interview. Let's see if I can pull this up for you guys. But anyways, I've always liked Garrett. He's a taller guy. I relate to that. I'm pretty tall myself. And he just seems like a really cool, relatable guy. And then ever since he just kind of started speaking his mind and being more open and relatable, and then we saw him on the Gypsy Tales podcast, and we really got to see what he's like. He's a really seems like a really cool guy, really fun. And he's kind of dug himself out of a hole. Similar, kind of reminds me of like what Weston Pike went through back in the day. So you always you love to see stuff like that, you know. In fact, so let me just play you guys this clip here as far as what I'm talking about. Should be able to have it right here. It was kind of refreshing. It's always refreshing to see these guys just speak their mind and really say how they feel, you know. I'm not sure how loud this is going to be, so bear with me.
No, it's nice to be up here on the podium to actually get a podium speech. I got the man, so thanks a lot for that. But,
all right,
that made me so mad at Colorado. Like, I had all my family there, friends, and they blew me off like that. I was like, girl, like, close TV time.
How upset he was.
Then don't give it to anyone. Either give everyone the time
it's not working. Anyways, yeah, Garrett's a great guy. We don't have an update on his injury. As far as Jorge, dude. Oh, man. Honest thoughts on Jorge Prado. I got to be careful here. I think that it was really cool to have him come over here, and I could not have ever predicted or expected the way that it went. Definitely disappointing, very disappointing. I think that it's hard, you know, to really understand what's going on over there. You know, we don't get to see the behind the scenes, but at the end of the day, you are paid to do a job. And the way that he like tried to not qualify for Budds Creek just blows my mind. And it's just weird how like he got in on the provisional, which obviously he didn't want to be in there. And then he just still goes out there and tries. Well, I don't know if tries is the right word, but still goes out there and gets a good start from the outside. It's like, dude, if that's where your mind's at, like, why you're giving like very mixed signals here. So as far as I can tell, from my opinion, I believe that Jorge is going to be teammates with Eli and AP next year. It's going to be super weird. Like, imagine coming into this season, Anaheim won. Somebody comes up to you and be like, dude, guess what? Next year, Jorge Prado, Aaron Plessinger, Eli Tomac. All teammates, dude. It's going to be sick. You'd be like, dude, put it down. Whatever you're smoking, put it down. But that's what it's looking like right now. So I don't know, man. Jorge Prado is a trip. It's always great to have like guys come from overseas to add depth to this field. Look at Joe Shimoda. Look at Dylan Ferrandis. Look at Ken Roxon. All these guys have come over and they've made our class have our racing have so much more flavor. It's a lot more interesting. The depth is better. So you always love to see it, but this is like so unprecedented as far as Jorge. I really hope that this is kind of okay. Well, let me just finish my thought. I really hope that this is just a one-off thing, and next year everything kind of goes back to normal and we see some upside with Jorge. Now, I did hear this is, if I had a tinfoil hat, I'd put it on just like, because this is straight conspiracy theory right here. This is more of a joke, to be clear. Disclaimer, this is more of a joke, but there is a conspiracy theory that's pretty funny. So people have said or speculated, dude, imagine if Jorge was like, hey, I got this offer from Kawasaki to offer me X amount. I know you guys can't match it right now with everything you're going through, you know, all your restructuring. I'm going to sign with them next year, and I'm going to just do diddly squat. I'm just going to roll around out there, learn the tracks, and just suck and make Kawi look really bad. And then next year, I'll come back and we'll sort it out, and I'll kill it for you guys. You guys are going to look so good. So obviously, I'm sure that's not what happened, but it is kind of funny to think about. As far as the no post-race interviews, I mean, we talked about it on my race day update show. I do the race day update show every Saturday morning. It was like my, I think we're on like 30 now for this year. We did do it last year as well. And I always go over the weather for you guys, try to give you guys all the information that I can in as quick of a amount of time as possible. Anyways, I knew that there was lightning coming. I speculated that I thought the race would be delayed. Now, did I expect them to cancel it? Absolutely not. But at the same time, like if you look at their base, like there's not a lot going on over there. There's the metal light poles, the metal grandstands, and that's about it, dude. So it's definitely not safe as far as that goes. I get that. But yeah, you can't really play around with lightning. It's more of a liability. I'm sure that everyone's fine. But if something does happen where somebody gets struck, the insurance and all that is just going to be a nightmare. But obviously, it's always, I mean, this is the playoffs, dude. This is what we've been looking forward to all year. These interviews and both of these motos are what we've been looking forward to. And dude, I was honestly really excited to see what was going to happen with this second moto on that sloppy track. So I'm sure as many of you were as well. I was extremely bummed. But yeah. Yeah, so this is exactly, I saw that segment as well. I know Jace has been really big on the in-ear communications for a couple of years now, and I don't disagree with him. And the irony here is pretty crazy. So yeah, shout out to Garrett Marchbanks. You never like to see that. I'm not going to say anything. This is true. This is true. I think that would be so sick. And I think that there's a lot of potential here as far as not just in Southern California, but just in general. There's a lot of great locations. Fox Raceway or Paula has a supercross track already. So, I mean, as long as they shut the thing down for a week or two and actually build it, you could probably integrate the vet track or the regular track into a section of the supercross track, or you could just completely rebuild the main track. But, you know, same thing could be said for Glen Helen. Getting to their supercross track would be tough. I don't think that they would integrate it like that. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great options. Like I said earlier, I'm not big on the dragways personally. I think that they're just, you know, it's one line this way and one line that way. And I did see that they added airbags and like foam on the actual concrete dividers this year, which was a really nice step in the right direction as far as safety goes. But that doesn't change the fact that having those barriers right there is sketchy, and also it just makes the whole track kind of a hassle. Let's see what this says here. Yeah, I did notice that. There's been that comparison all throughout the week. And the fact that Jorge essentially agreed with Kawasaki to not line up for this, especially with the amount of money on the line. Just goes to show you how much they're in shambles over there. So you really, dude, yeah, I'm not sure what to say about that. Yeah, I mean, you guys are kind of covering it here. That was crazy too. Like, as far as I'm sure you guys saw it. For me, like in the last lap of the 450s, the broadcast just cut out, and I was like, oh man. But I mean, I work on the production side of some things as far as like, I'm still working on getting my live shows up, but I work on other bigger live streams where we have like multiple camera angles and stuff like that. And dude, it could go sideways so fast. So I was just like, dude, I could imagine being in that production room and everybody's just screaming, like, just freaking out. So stressful. Yeah, on the final lap, exactly. So yeah, definitely not ideal. If you guys have any other questions or topics you want to talk about, now's your chance. Leave it in the comments right now, because we are going to start wrapping this show up. So just to quickly recap here, we had, let me just bring this back up. This was kind of, there it is. So this was Friday press day. We saw the track was pretty gnarly. This is a lot of the futures guys or the SMX Next guys that were struggling, but as you'll see right here, some of the 250 guys as well. Hopefully St. Louis is a little bit better. I would speculate. Now, St. Louis is known for having some of the best dirt on the circuit, but I would speculate. Actually, let's go ahead. Sorry, I have ADD. I would speculate that the dirt is not going to be as good as it normally is. It's going to be a little bit drier based off of the time of year, but that could be good in the sense that we're not going to have such gnarly ruts, because normally in Supercross, we're not on the track nearly as long as what we're going to be, you know, this and the SMX rounds in St. Louis. So for it to be a little bit drier is probably a good thing. Let me go ahead and show you guys what I'm talking about here. So St. Louis, this is the St. Louis track map right here. This is next weekend's race. The thing that I'm really excited about is right here. As you can see in the top left, they go in and out of the stadium. Now, we don't have a lot of an idea what that's going to look like. They're connecting it to another arena, I think, but we're going to have to wait and see exactly how that races and everything. But this should be a lot of fun. It's basically a lot more Supercrossy, kind of like what we saw at the LA Coliseum. No whoops, obviously. I'm really curious to see what this section here, if you guys look, let me go back to this view here. So if you see right here on the top left, they come in from outside, go up onto this shelf of a bowl turn, jump back. Oh, wait, no, I'm doing it backwards. I'm sorry. So that's how you leave. You basically, you go up and over the bridge, onto the shelf, off the shelf, and then out of the stadium. So right before the bridge, if you see the split section here, I'm curious to see how they make this outside be comparable, because to me, it looks like it would just be way slower. So that's something I'm really curious about. And then also how they leave the stadium. That should be pretty exciting. The good news is, guys, it's not going to get canceled due to rain or lightning, because it is in a dome. So we don't have to worry about that. Anyways, let's see. SMX will be allowed to run the race next Friday, and the grid will be based off of qualifying. Yeah, thanks for the stream. So if that's the case, that's essentially what I was saying earlier, that it'd be nice if they would do that. And I haven't heard that myself, but I'm right here doing a live stream, so I'm sure I could have missed it. So if that's the case, shout out to those guys for figuring it out. That's definitely way better. Oh, here we have a question right here. Watched a lot of your material, and I forget if you talked about your own riding. Love to hear your background in riding, what you currently ride, injuries, etc., if I would like to share. Well, I appreciate that. So as far as my background in motocross is kind of, it runs pretty deep, actually. So let me pull this up for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. So you have to be pretty old school to really know this. Some of you might know, but my family, my grandfather was the founder of DG Performance. So that's kind of where it all started for me. I wasn't obviously born yet. But let me pull this up for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. So that's where it started. He founded DG Performance back in the day. My dad was racing pro motocross at the time. His name was Kevin Harlow. So that was, again, before I was born. But anyways, you can see right here, this is my channel. This is a interview I did right here with my dad. So we kind of go through the story of DG Performance. It's kind of an underrated video. There's a lot of history as far as DG Performance goes. I don't get into me much because the video is not about me, but I'm essentially the grandson of Gary Harlow. So that's where it kind of all started, because he was into motocross. My dad raced pro motocross. Eventually he transitioned to BMX racing. Then he's just been on two wheels his whole life. He met my mom racing road bikes. So I was born on two wheels. Long story short, I was at Paris Auto Speedway, which is a dirt oval track. I wasn't racing in anything yet. I was like 3 years old. And there's a BMX track back behind Paris Auto Speedway. And I was like, Dad, let's go check it out. And so I got into BMX. So as far as that goes, that is my history. I'm a longtime BMX racer. I have ridden motocross. I don't race it because currently I have two little boys. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, married, and I'm the sole source of income. Cannot be breaking myself off like that. So thankfully, I know how to, control a BMX bike enough that I can race as a hobby and stay safe out there. And generally, I don't get hurt. But as far as injuries goes, dude, as a teenager, every 8 months, I was in the hospital getting a cast or a sling or something. I have broken just about everything. Let me show you here. Just to kind of wrap this up and give you a little bit of history behind me, because I am trying to build a little bit of a community here and get you guys to know a little bit more about me. So this is me right here. This is me riding at the local track. So I'm a BMX racer, dude. I understand motocross, love motocross. It's like the only mainstream sport that we BMXers can relate to. Let me see if I could give you guys some actual footage here. Yeah, so here's a national I raced earlier this year. I'll let this kind of play as I talk. Anyways, so I would love to have had the opportunity to race more motocross. Money wasn't there as a kid. Then I had to go out and get a job and support my family and stuff like that. So the goal of this channel is actually to go ahead and try to get enough extra revenue going to hopefully explore that revenue or that avenue of motocross racing and kind of bring you guys along on that journey as I get into motocross racing. But I also just got my contractor's license for my C10 electrical. So I'm trying to get that company up and running. I've just got my corporation registered with the Secretary of State. I'm also, like I said, raising two little boys, racing BMX on the side, running this channel. So your boy is extremely busy. I'm drinking caffeine 24/7. So to answer your question, I have been hurt a lot as a kid. I think I've broken about 15 bones. I've separated each shoulder 3 times. Not here to try to go through a whole laundry list of everything, but yeah, that's my background as far as me. And if you guys are wondering, my name is Shane. This is my channel. I'm the only one on here. I run the whole channel, so it's just me doing it. It's a real struggle at times, but I'm always trying to bring you guys content as much as possible. And while we're on the subject, really quick, I know you guys probably know all about my race day updates that I'm always doing. And I'm sure you guys have probably seen some of my other videos, but I just want to kind of highlight something for you guys. As far as if you don't already know about it, let me just share with you guys. I really put a lot of effort into my story videos. If you look right here on this playlist on the side, this is my channel. This is my playlist. And these are actual story videos that I put together as far as like some of the stuff that goes on in our sport, highlighting some of the riders, some of the stories. Right here, we have a full 25-minute documentary about Austin Faulkner. The story behind LaRocco's Leap and how it came to be, that is a cool story. Jason Lawrence, dude, this, if you guys haven't watched this J-Law video, go check it out. This is a playlist that's specifically moto stories right here. You guys could see that, moto stories on my channel. It has all the videos that I made. It's got the DG video in there, Trey Kennard, Austin Faulkner again. The RV video is really cool as well. This is a Budds Creek video, and then I did one on J Mart when he won that race. So I'm definitely trying to bring you guys a lot of other content too. I continuously knock out the race day updates shows for you guys because I know that's relevant every week. But whenever I have time, I try to bring you guys stories as well. So definitely, if you guys have already watched those, thank you. But if not, go check them out. They're, in my opinion, the best stuff that I make. Yes, as far as DG, yeah, the DG pipes, DG BMX bikes, all the DG, they made all kinds of stuff. Let me just show, probably should have done this earlier, back when I was still talking about it, but let me just bring it up here. If you guys go watch, sorry, my nose is so itchy. If you guys watch the DG Performance story video on the channel, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But there's a whole story behind how my grandfather kind of helped discover Bob Hanna. He had a lot of support from DG back in the day. Some really cool stuff, and that is where it all stems from for me. Let me just show you right here. This is kind of some of the stuff right here that I wasn't involved because I wasn't born back then, but this is kind of what I'm talking about. This is a DG BMX bike right here. A lot of people are, if you were around back then, the nostalgia is probably kicking in hard right now. Let me see if I can find a pipe that you, but yeah, so, oh, here we go. Yeah, so this is what DG Performance was back in the day. It was a pretty big deal from my understanding as far as back in the day. And that is where it all traces back for me in motocross. But like I said, unfortunately, I personally haven't had the opportunity or the money to really go motocross racing. I'm a longtime BMX racer. And you're very welcome for sharing. Thanks for asking. It's always cool to kind of build a community with you guys. And yeah, right now, actually, the YouTube is doing great. We're kind of growing quite a bit. I've been making a push. This is the second year I've really been doing the YouTube thing. Right now, I'm on the fence of actually going to the Vegas SMX to try to bring you guys that firsthand. If you guys are a longtime channel member or goer, you probably saw my videos as far as when I went to Fox Raceway. And what I did was I essentially went over there and tried to bring you guys that race, like the races behind the scenes, and really show you guys what was going on. So I had my mic kind of clipped on right here, and I was just videoing the footage, but I was also kind of giving some commentary as far as what was going on the track at that time. And a lot of you guys really liked it. I'll show you right here what I'm talking about. This is my channel. So right here, these videos, I did the practice, and then I did 250 Moto 1, 250 Moto, or 450 Moto 1, 450 Moto 2, and 250 Moto 2. And as you can see, the views are pretty solid for me. A lot of really nice comments on there. And I'm just trying to give you guys, it's kind of, I wouldn't say I'm trying to copy like what Matt Burkeen does, but if you guys have seen his videos, that's the closest thing I could describe it. And I really want to go do that for you guys at the Vegas SMX, but it's a bit of a commitment for me as far as financially and time-wise, because like I said, I have 2 little boys. So I'm on the fence of that right now. But back to your comment, the YouTube has been doing really well, and I appreciate the growth. We're almost to 10,000 subscribers if you guys are in here right now and you're enjoying what you're seeing on my page or just this live and you'd like to help me out, that subscription would mean a lot. If you go in my analytics, I posted it actually in the race day updates. Only like 4% of you guys who watch are subscribed. So even if you think you're subscribed, you're probably not. But anyways, if you guys could subscribe, it really helps me a lot. I'm almost at 10,000. Thank you guys for that. And Armzilla, thank you for that. This Austin Faulkner video was the first like legitimate story video that I put together. Let me go ahead and scroll down. It should be right here. I did do some Anaheim stuff too. Anaheim Supercross. I did bring that to you guys as well. But back to the Austin Faulkner thing right here. This Austin Faulkner. This was the first like legitimate story video that I made. Dude, I'm telling you, I had like I don't write a script. I kind of write points and then I summarize it and I kind of free flow. And I had like 17 pages of notes because of the amount of injuries that this man has had. It is so hard to put him like on a timeline categorically as far as what he's gone through, dude. Just for me to make that video gave me so much more respect for him because I had a hard time sorting it out on paper and he had to live it. But anyways, if you guys haven't seen that video, it was my first story video. It was a lot of fun to see how it turned out. It was a lot of work and I think it turned out great. Used to race Paris Raceway when Shane Kelly passed away, when there was still a BMX track back there. BMX track is still there. I ride there to this day. As far as Shane Kelly goes, that's actually my name, Shane, at least. So I grew up going to Paris Auto Speedway. That's where it all started for me. And yeah, that place is really cool. Used to go to the fair every year. And I appreciate these types of, these are the types of comments that keep me going because, like, to be honest with you guys, with the race day updates and stuff, there's a lot of late nights where I'm like just cramming to try to get the video together. And it like I'll literally have to like set an alarm to wake up before the deadline and try to hurry up and finish it because I can't stay awake anymore. So it is a grind. And I do appreciate that you guys at least appreciate it. If you did not, I would have given up a long time ago. As far as the live streams, I'm doing them as often as possible. My life is very hectic. Like I said earlier, I just got my contractor's license. Well, I just passed my test. So I'm in the process of doing my live scan fingerprints, securing my bond. I'm already incorporated. I work a regular job as an electrician. On top of that, and I have the YouTube channel. I got my family, and I'm the sole source of income. So there's a lot going on. I like doing the live streams. I have everything in place. As you can see, I have the software. I have the hardware. I can't promise you, but the plan is to do a live stream at least for St. Louis. Hopefully, I will be at Las Vegas. So a live stream would not be possible because I'll be bringing you live content. To answer your question, hopefully next Saturday I will do another live stream at around the same time. Now St. Louis is starting later in the day, so the live stream would be later in the evening, but roughly an hour after the race finishes, look for a St. Louis live stream, hopefully, and then hopefully look for some content directly from the side of the track in Vegas if everything checks out. And thank you, Crystal, much appreciated. Oh, yeah. As far as you're talking about Star West or the fair, I think they called it State Fair after that. Yeah, so that track is gone. I never rode that track. Like I said, I haven't been able to ride much motocross. So there's a whole, actually, since we're talking about that, I have a whole video on that whole situation. Right here, this SoCal Moto is dead. Made a whole video on that. That video is really cool if you guys are into knowing what's going on in Southern California, or if you're from Southern California. That's a really cool video to talk about. We talked a lot about that specific track and like 9 other tracks as well. But yeah, so I think that's a good place to go ahead and leave it as far as this live stream. If you guys made it this far in the video, if you're watching it after the fact, thank you guys for sticking around. Let me know down in the comments too what you guys would want to see in the future as far as more live streams, what kind of stuff you want me to talk about. This will be obviously uploaded after the fact as well. So if you guys are watching this after and you made it this far, thank you for sticking around. If you guys are in right now, you guys are the OGs. Thank you for jumping in here. We've had like upwards of 100 people, which is really awesome. And I really appreciate your support. I'm trying to build a community here. What I do is just everything moto. Love moto. Always have, always will. And I'm just trying to bring you guys the most relevant news and stories and like just bring it to you guys in a way that I would want to watch it. So that's why I don't drag on in my update videos. I just go to the point, tell you guys what I think is going on, what I see, and then that's it. The video's over. So I'm just trying to bring you guys good content, and I see that a lot of you appreciate that, and I appreciate you guys. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.